What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 4 of the Gamers Point of View podcast. We're having a little bit of difficulty at the moment trying to get set up here with the stream and get together with my two co-hosts and my guest. People are running a little late. So for the first few minutes of the podcast, you're just going to be seeing me play the game by myself, probably. I'll be having infamous First Light gameplay during the podcast tonight. We'll be talking about Dead Games and Dead Game series that we would like to see get rebooted or get sequels. We'd like to see come back. Welcome, Guts.
What's up?
Not too much. Waiting on, oh geez, I'm like blanking. Waiting on Bad Monkey and Crimson. Do a quick audio check here. Go ahead and say something, Guts.
Shenanigans. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that'll do. I'm just waiting to see, I'll have to check when Crimson joins and when Monkey joins. I'll have to remember to check. That way we know his voice is coming through, because he hasn't done one of these yet. We'll wait a couple of minutes before... I don't want to start having a two-sided, just a two-person conversation.
Yeah, that will not go very well.
Yeah. I'm messaging Monkey too. He's saying something about the kids are being loud. In the meantime, if you're watching this after the fact, after the live stream is over, you want to comment down below in the comments what kind of games you'd want to see come back or game series you want to see come back. And as always, I encourage you to show up to these things live on every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, to join in the conversation in the comments.
Okay.
Crimson did not give any indication that he was going to be late. Not that I saw, anyway.
He just grabbed my hand and we ran. Spent a few years living on the streets.
Yeah, you're gonna have to mute yourself if you're gonna be loud at all, man. All right, let me double check your audio's coming through, Monkey. Yeah, you might want to actually. I know I've asked you in the past to raise your mic level. You might actually have to lower it because of the kids in the background. Let me see. I'm checking on the stream to see if you're coming through.
Huh? Slow.
It's enough for a fresh start. We could use one. Shit, get out, get out!
Send them back from whence they came.
I'll distract them.
Wait.
Do this job.
That may not be legal.
No one will be able to find us.
Yeah, soon as... No. Do not use your powers.
I'm not gonna kill anyone, just...
Monkey, say something real quick.
Fetch.
Okay.
Hey! You! Come over here. Look at me. Eyes up. Right
It's not so much if he can hear you, he's seen if your voice is being shared through the actual app.
Okay,
you may
you
have to check your settings.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go into the party chat, like the voice chat that we're using right now. You have to go into the settings of it, and you'll see where you can share your voice, and you have to select to share. Either you can set it to share all the time, that way your voice will show up in my YouTube videos too when you play with me, or you can just set it for share right now. Right now, your voice is not coming through on the stream.
Oh, okay. I went through the wrong setting. I went through settings to do that.
No, it's got to be in the party chat.
Alright. This should work now.
You fixed
Hear
it?
me?
I'm gonna check it now then. Just keep talking, talk to Guts, say whatever you want, I don't care. Sing a song, just don't be loud.
Ah! How you doing, Guts?
Pretty good, pretty good.
That's good.
Okay, your voice is coming through.
Alright, cool.
We're missing one of our co-hosts. I guess we could start without him.
3 is better than 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, did you guys... You said you didn't make a list, Guts, right?
No, I know the games I want back.
So
Like,
if I said to you to give me your list, you'd be able to rip off, like... You could say a general number of how many is in them, or you could rip off a few real quick without going into detail on any of them. You could just give me, like, a few names of them, right?
Yep.
Alright, what about you, Monkey? Did you actually make a list, or did you... Or you just have them in your head?
Oh, they're in my head.
Okay. Guts, why don't you go ahead and go... You know what? I'll have Monkey...
If anyone knew a conduit was in town.
You go ahead and go
Monkey's
first.
the guest.
Since you're the guest, yeah. And if you want, you can start off by telling us a little bit about yourself.
I'd use my
If you
powers
want,
to
for
make
those that are
Joe,
watching,
and the
like,
two of us would take
you know, how long you've been gaming, and, you know, what kind of games you're into, and all that kind of stuff, if you want to. If you want to plug any of your social media, you can do that at the end.
Yeah, my name's Jordan. What do I do with my gamer tag? My name.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do the job with his cap on my
You can find me on Facebook or PlayStation. It's BadMonkey420766. I've been gaming for quite a while, actually. I started gaming when I was like, I would say 10. My first game system was a GameCube.
Mm-hmm. That's going back a bit.
Oh yeah.
What do you play on nowadays, mostly?
Well, now I play PlayStation 4. It's funny how I went through an Xbox 360 to a PlayStation 4. I used to really like the Xbox. But
I had one, never liked it. My brother made me get one.
yeah, you always get the red ring of death. That's what made me quit.
Sorry, I had to.
I was just about to ask you what made you quit. So that was what made you quit, is the red ring?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It was such a common thing.
Never again.
Okay, well, if you want to start off on your list, go ahead. You can just... You don't go into any detail yet, just, you know, give a few names of some of them, and then we'll go to Guts, and then we'll go to me, and then we'll pick one of you to start off with going into detail on a game.
Well, okay, so far I only got like 10 right now. Well, probably less than 10. But, Dino Crisis, if you guys ever played that.
What
yes.
system was that on?
64.
64.
Okay.
Nintendo 64.
Yep. I wouldn't mind anything like that. Did they make a new... I kind of want a new Metroid.
They have made new ones, just not in the classic style.
Yes, Metroid would definitely want more.
So, Dinomania and Metroid so far?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's see if I can remember the other one.
If you want, we can switch over to Guts while you think about it.
Legacy of Kain.
I've heard of that one.
That
I
was-
think I've played it.
Hold on, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, I'm getting some loud background.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's got kids there that are not cooperating with his wanting to be a guest on the stream. Go ahead, Guts. Start talking about some of the ones you would like to see.
Starting back from like the Super Nintendo age, like I started playing like just about all my life. Like as far back as I've been alive, we had some kind of game system.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I played back on the original Ataris.
Nice.
You know, they were already out for a while and stuff. I was born and the Nintendo had already come out, but I mean, we had like my dad had the Atari and I got to play on it. Mm-hmm. Then like until recent, like every evolution of the Nintendo, every evolution of the PlayStation, the Sega systems. So like right out the gate, to bring it back and refresh it, Chrono Trigger. RPG on the Super Nintendo. I also love the Bomberman games. I'd love to see them redone. There was one, I remember hating it as a kid because I could never figure it out because like it was so weirdly based, but Beyond the Beyond.
Oh my god.
Yeah, if you know that game, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm actually
but
not
as I got
familiar with any
older,
of them. Go ahead.
Okay, as I got older, like I started figuring out, it's like, man, I really like this shit. Why don't they bring it back? I would also like to see them refresh the Mega Man series versus just remaking the old ones. Mm-hmm. Like, I know they've tried to make them, but they're nothing like the old games. I mean, it's Mega Man in title. And that's about it to me. Going a little bit further in, the Armored Core games. Mm-hmm. I really like those. I love giant mecha genre shit, so bring on the mechs. Further in those with the PlayStation games, now I'm trying to think of the title of it now. I may have to go back to that one. But there were games on like the DS, or not the DS, like the old Game Boys. They were called Golden Sun. They're an RPG type game.
And is that something that you would want to see them bring to like PS5 and the new Xbox and PC, or on a handheld?
I want to. I want to see them like expand it and make it a PS5 game.
Okay.
Like there were such good stories in there and stuff, and it's like upgrade them, like continue them, upgrade them, you know, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Getting into more current, I guess, or closer to being current. On the PS2 and I think it was actually it was PS2. There was a game called MS Saga New Dawn. They actually combined mobile suits with turn-based RPG. Really liked it. It was great. Wow. Now that you put me on the spot, I'm having trouble remembering all of them. Maybe I should have made a list.
That's why I wrote them down.
While I had the 360, the Fable games. I liked Fable. Like, I wish they would have not made it an Xbox exclusive.
Oh yeah.
And bring them, like, make another one, upgrade them, put them on all the systems, like get that rolling again. Like, those were good games.
I loved Fable. I played a lot of it.
What was that about? I didn't play Fable.
You never played Fable?
No.
It's a adventure RPG where, you know, you create your character and it gives you the background story, and then everything you do in the game has consequences on your future. It maps your good and your evil. So you can basically turn your character into a demon or like the ultimate good, depending on the choices you make. It was even one of the first ones that, like, besides like a Sims game, you could get married, have kids. I mean, there was a running joke in the game. You could like have your dog dig in two and find condoms if you didn't want to have kids. And like, it was hilarious, but like the idea of it being in a game was like, that's fucking great. Like,
the karma thing where you could be evil or good reminds me of the Infamous games, which is on my list.
Yeah. You know, I didn't mention those because I was like, I know Infamous is going to bring these out. Like, there's no way he's not.
I got 2 more.
Okay, go ahead.
Battletoads. I want that from the PlayStation. I love Battletoads.
That was pretty infamous for having a very difficult level or stage, wasn't it, Battletoads?
Yeah.
Once you got towards the end, yes.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see a reboot of Bully. That was another game I played. It wasn't a bad game, but it was pretty fun.
See, I played Bully, and like my whole thing is like, okay, Schoolyard Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. Ooh, another one, Twisted Metal. I don't know if you ever played that.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun playing Twisted Metal.
I wouldn't mind seeing a really nice version of that.
I could see them redo that.
Playing it so much. But yeah, that's it for now.
Okay. We'll go over my list. I've got Infamous. So when I say Infamous, it's where I got my name from for PlayStation and my YouTube channel and all that. I mean all of the Infamous games. I have a real idea in my head that I'll get into more detail later about how they could do it too, but I played Infamous 1, Infamous 2, and then Infamous Second Son, and they had small expansions too to some of them, like Halloween expansion called First Blood, I think, for Infamous 2. And I'm playing the expansion or add-on, or whatever you want to call it, for Infamous Second Son right now, called Infamous First Light. The Dead Space series, I would like to see the Dead Space series come back. One of the most immersive games I've ever played, in the way that they had no ammo counter showing, no health bar showing. It was all like contained on your weapons and part of your suit, so there wasn't like a health bar at the bottom of the screen and everything. The lore in the game, like even when you would, like, say you pick up a collectible in a game, then you have to go in a separate screen and read about it. No, Dead Space had text logs that would pop up on the screen and you could read it, or they had like the video logs that would pop up right away. Sometimes they had audio ones, so it was just more immersive and more natural, that you could take all that in and you wouldn't feel like it was pulling you out of the game in order to do it too much, you know what I mean? The Max Payne series, Red Faction. I don't know if anybody's ever played Red Faction.
Yep.
Portal and Panzer Dragoon on the Sega Saturn. I played a couple Panzer Dragoon games.
See, I wasn't as big as a fan of Portal.
I played Portal 2 a lot with my kids, and I had a blast doing it. Just sitting on the couch co-op. I can't remember if I played online with anybody, but it's just really fun going through the different puzzle rooms with a friend and just trying to figure them out and stuff. It's hilarious and rewarding. And just, I don't know why they can't bring, or why maybe I don't know if they weren't making enough money off of it or what. I know it was like a spin-off of Half-Life or something, and they've never come out with another Half-Life. People have been asking for years, so maybe it's just that game company. I don't know. Okay, so does somebody, since we've gotten through everybody's list more or less of what your list is and about how many you have, does anybody have a specific game they want to bring up that they want to go into further detail about it? Like, what'd you like about it so much? Why, how do you want them to bring it back? Do you want them to bring back as a sequel? Do you want them to reboot the whole franchise? And then, if you have an idea in your head about how you want it rebooted or a sequel, go ahead and talk about that too. Either one of you? No?
I'll try to think. I was letting Bad Monkey go first.
Okay.
See, since he hasn't said nothing quite yet, like my big one is like there's some that I would love to see them redo them, but not just like, oh, re-released it and upgraded the graph. Like actually, like, you know how they redid Final Fantasy VII?
I've heard about how they did it. I'm not familiar with the series.
You don't know Final Fantasy?
No, I never got into the Final Fantasy series. No.
Sacrilege. But like, and like that's to me the bigger thing is like how to redo them today where they're not just here's the old game, have fun.
Well, that's not a reboot or a sequel. That's a remaster.
Right.
Like what they've done with some of the Resident Evil games, where they just remaster it and maybe they add like a little bit extra here and there. Yeah, but it's mainly just a remaster. I mean, let me think of okay, they're releasing Grand Theft Auto 5 on PS5, right? They released it on PS4 after they released it on PS3. And yeah, they added a little bit of stuff to online here and there, but the single player is the same. So it's just getting a graphical upgrade in like frame rates and field of view and all that stuff. So, you know, that's what I would term as a remaster, not a reboot, not a sequel.
This is another game I could think of. It's called Turok.
I love Turok.
I kind of want to see a new one of that because I played it on 360 and PS3. It's crazy how you can like fight all these dinosaurs.
You didn't play the originals on the Nintendo 64?
Oh, I did. I actually got it on my phone.
Oh, nice.
But
now, like, for actually like making a sequel and relaunching the games, I want to see Chrono Trigger. Ooh. That was back. So you said you are not aware of this game?
Chrono Trigger? No, I'm not.
Chrono Trigger was one of the original RPGs put out on the Super Nintendo, where, you know, you go back and forth through times, you get multiple characters, every character has his own storyline, or her own storyline, and again, you know, based on how you do things and when you do them, affects your outcome at the end, like, it affects your ending, and there was like 30 different endings to the game that you could unlock. Where, like, I mean, it got as in-depth as if you went to the prehistoric time and beat the final boss in the prehistoric time before you finished the other areas, everybody at the end of the game is now lizard people. Because you never beat the lizard people. So now they took over.
Nice.
And, like, you know, the humans never evolved. Now everybody's a lizard person because of how quick you beat it, where you beat it. Things like that. Like it was an amazing game, especially for its time. And like, they tried to make a sequel, but it was so different than the original. No one even accepted it as its sequel.
That's interesting.
Have you guys played Evil Dead?
Oh yeah. Ash?
Have you ever played Alone in the Dark?
Around in the Dark?
Alone in the Dark. Didn't they turn that into a movie?
Yeah, I think so.
I have not played that game.
That was back on PS2.
Yeah.
But it's like Evil Dead, I think it was. Yeah. That game was actually pretty fun. I don't know how you guys like scary games, but
I love them.
The one that I really like the most, the series, is Dead Space for scary games. I know there's other ones that are arguably scarier, but that's like my favorite one.
It's funny because that game scared my dad, and he get mad every time he gets scared because I make fun of him for it.
Nice.
He's like, "Shut up."
Don't be such a wuss, Pop. Shut up, you're grounded.
What's the other game? It's not Darksiders. Is it Darksiders?
Well, hold on. You got away from what do you call it so fast? You mentioned what do you call it? Evil Dead. I've seen the show, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen the
so-
movies. That's and the games I played were on PS2, I think.
Yep.
Were there any on PS3 or PS4?
I think it was on PS2 first.
Okay.
I played the first one and I kind of liked it. I liked the mechanics of how you can hide and all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they did a reboot on it. Actually, no, they made a second one, which was for PS4 and PS3, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But that one was... I could never get past it for some reason. It was a hard one.
So that was not. So if it was on the PS4, then like it's not exactly a Dead series yet. We don't know if they're going to continue it. But you would
Alone
like
in
to
the
see it
Dark.
continued.
Yeah, Alone in the Dark was never remade. They only made it for the 360 and then they stopped.
Yeah.
I kind of like to see that reboot because it was a really good game. I mean, it was actually kind of better than Evil Dead. But yeah, you go in like a shadow realm or like a nightmare area and you fight off like these monsters and stuff.
Yeah.
Dude.
For the Evil Dead one, I would say it's gotta have the actor Bruce Campbell too that played the voice of Ash. It's gotta have that, or it's just not. Like just like with a Max Payne game, it's gotta have that actor that does the voice, or it's just not the same.
Agreed. You gotta keep your actors and your voice actors, or you end up losing it.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
Go ahead.
You were saying that like you had plans on like how they could reboot some of your games.
Yeah.
So like that's my biggest one is like it would be hard to reboot some games because they're so old. How would they translate to new techniques, new graphics, new? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, I was just thinking plotline in terms of my plan. I wasn't thinking graphically or the game engine or the gameplay necessarily. With Infamous, in Infamous 1 and in Infamous 2, you played as a character called Cole McGrath. Alright? And he got his powers. He was delivering a package, and the package exploded in some big accident thing, and he got his powers. You find out more about it later, but like the real way he got it, there's like a really big twist to it. But you could go evil or you could go good, right? In the game, in the whole Infamous series, you could turn your character evil or turn him good. It's basically a superhero or a supervillain. And then you had 2 games with him, and then you had a game with a character called Delson Rowe on the PS4 for Infamous Second Son. What I would propose at the end of Part 2, I mean, this is spoilers, but I mean, it's a PS3 game. If you haven't played it by now, chances are you're not going to. At the end of Infamous 2, Cole McGrath died if you played the good playthrough. If you played the bad playthrough, he survived, but Sucker Punch, the guys who made the game, said we're going with the good playthrough as canon, because that's what the majority of the player base chose. So we're going to treat that as canon. So Cole McGrath is now dead, and that's how we have Infamous Second Son, because Infamous Second Son is a new character. But at the end of Infamous 2, when his body is being taken away, he's going out on a boat, like on his casket's on a boat, and his best bud's out there with him. There's like a lightning bolt that strikes the boat, and lightning was was basically his main power from the first game. And it's in the shape of a question mark. So there's room there to say, okay, maybe he is alive, or maybe he could come back somehow. You know what I mean? Even if they go with
his death.
Yeah. Now, so what I would do if they were going to do a sequel or a new game, like I wouldn't want a reboot. I would want a sequel. Because I would say there's probably 2 generations of Infamous fans. The ones that played the originals first and probably played the new one, so they're familiar with the main characters from both. And then there's the new generation that's only familiar with the main character from the new game, from Infamous Second Son, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you bring them both into the new game. and you could have it one of two ways, or actually 4 different ways. You could play in all the Infamous games, like I said, you could play as evil or you could play as good. And if, let's say, you beat the game on evil, you got to do a second playthrough and beat the game on good in order to platinum the game, in order to get all the achievements, the trophies, the accomplishments, whatever.
Right.
So I would say you resurrect Cole McGrath, the guy from the first game. He comes back out of hiding. You make it like, yes, he survived, but he was in hiding because all the people with powers are being hunted by the government after the second game.
I'm sorry, I have to step away for a second. Someone's calling me.
Yep. And what you would want to do is he comes back to go after the main character from the second game, or, well, third game, technically, Delson Rowe. Because at the end of his game, he had one of the playthroughs you could turn evil, and he had to go. He could absorb the powers of others by like touching them. So he had plans to go to a prison and like shake the hand to everybody on the way out that he was freeing, like all these people with powers.
Yeah.
So the main way that I would want to play it is Cole coming back as a hero to stop Delson, this super-powered villain, and then you could, to give the game as much like depth as possible and give it to, give people the option to play it as much as they want, you could have it playable 4 different ways. You could have it where you can play as Cole and be evil, and if you're evil on Cole, then Delson is good. It would always put the other character in as being controlled by the AI and be the opposite karma that you are. So if you played as Cole is bad, then you got Delson is good. If you got Cole is good, Delson is bad. You know what I mean? So you could play either character on evil or good karma.
Yeah.
So you could theoretically play the game 4 times in order to completely, platinum it or whatever. And we could have a whole new location, new allies, new powers. I think it could be pretty fun.
It would also make the game a little longer too, because you got all these options.
Yeah, like in the other, like I said, in the other Infamous games, if you wanted to get the platinum and you really enjoyed your game and you wanted to play through it to unlock everything, you would have at least 2 playthroughs. One on, and this is assuming you got all the collectibles and all the side missions and unlocked all parts of the map on between those 2 playthroughs. You would have to do a good karma playthrough and an evil karma playthrough.
Yeah.
So then if you have 2 characters like I'm proposing, now you've got to do an evil and a good on each character. You want to get into one of your games, or should I jump to another one of mine? Do you have any thoughts like that on any of the ones you brought up? Like you have thoughts in your mind, like I would do this or that if I brought them back?
Not really. I'm still trying to think. This is my first time doing a podcast, so...
That's okay. I mean, not many people are going to watch it. There's only 2 people watching it right now, and one of them's me, I think. You know what I mean? Because I got my phone next to me, just making sure that the audio quality and everything is going okay. And I only have, 70-some subscribers, and only, 20-some people have been watching each of these episodes, so you're really not... You know what I mean?
I like to see Torque come back to PS4 or PS5. I wish they kind of add multiplayer so you can kill dinosaurs and all that other stuff and have new weapons, because they didn't have very a big selection of weapons. But it'd be cool to see at least a multiplayer for it, and I wouldn't mind seeing an open world. That'd be pretty
You said
cool.
Turok you're talking about?
Yeah, it's a game where you fight dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Oh, and people.
Robotic dinosaurs.
Yeah.
It's robotic dinosaurs?
Some of them are.
Isn't that... So you want an open world game where you fight robotic dinosaurs. Haven't they kind of already done that with,
Well, they're not actually... they look
They're
like real
cyborg.
dinosaurs. Yeah, they're
cyborgs.
So it's not the game I was just going to name, which you probably already know is just like Stop Me, right?
Yeah. Here's your
Okay.
No, they actually look like real dinosaurs, but there's a place that was creating all these dinosaurs and stuff, and something went wrong and they all got loose and they got pretty much a mind of their own.
So it's like Jurassic Park, but worse.
Yeah, a lot worse.
Uh-huh.
But, yeah,
And they had some pretty cool guns too.
Oh yeah, I kind of want to see more guns also.
The return of the torque bow.
Oh yeah, dude, I love the torque bow. It's so awesome.
Exploding bow.
Nice.
But at least, yeah, multiplayer and then open world, kind of cool. Also multiplayer. I already say that. But yeah, that's all I can think of right now. Sure, more will come.
Sounds cool. Guts, you have one you want to talk about, or do you want me to move on to the next game? I kind of talked about Infamous while you were stepped away.
I was watching it on the phone.
Okay. Did you have any comments about it? Have you played any of the Infamous games?
Yeah,
Okay.
most of them.
What did you think about my idea? Does that sound like a game you would be interested in playing? Or?
I like the idea of bringing him back, and then, you know, you have to play evil, you have to play good, multiple playthroughs to get through the whole game. You know, kind of like going back on the, okay, how would you bring it back, or like a sequel, like my Chrono Trigger. Like, the end of the game, like they pseudo made a sequel that had nothing to really do with the first game called Chrono Cross, but like the end of the game, like with their official ending, your mom turns around and jumps through one of the time gates and gets lost, and you have to hop in your time machine and you're going after her, looking for her, and like that's the cinematic ending scene. And it's like, there's your sequel right there. What's going on with his mom? You know, you got to go find him or find her, and like they just didn't do it. Like, I would love to see them rebuild it. Now, like, old school RPGs are dead. Like, turn-based RPGs, you don't really see them anymore. Like, they've evolved the combat styles, and like, I would like to see those old turn-based RPGs come back. Like, I know you don't know the Final Fantasy games, but like, it used to be, it would pop up, your character's ready to attack, what do you want him to do? You tell them what to do, they turn around and do it. Now it's waiting for you to tell your next character what to do. Now it's kind of like they autopilot, except for you control one.
I think the closest I've ever come to playing a game like that was Dragon Age Origins. And they stepped up the combat with Dragon Age 2. They changed it and made it more fluid, like we would react when you hit the button rather than, you know, you tell them what to do and then they do it. I like that style of gameplay. I don't know. I'm sure there's still an audience for it, though. You know what I mean? Like, I would imagine there would be.
I like, Chrono Trigger had such a fan following that I'm sure if they redid it like in that style and continued it, it would be a mega hit. Yeah. And you know, it was from what was it called back then? Squaresoft? Or Square Enix, whatever the original company was, because I know they've merged with other companies now and I can't keep them all straight anymore.
Square Enix?
Like, yeah.
Okay.
I think the original company was Squaresoft, and they merged with Enix, and they became Square Enix. But, like, yeah, like, there's tons they could do with it, but, you know, they can add more characters, expand them. Another one that I loved, that I would love to see come back, was Legend of Legaia. It was on the PlayStation, the original PlayStation. And, like, it had such an interesting story, and, you know, it had the turn-based combat, even though, you know, it was a lot more into it, because, like, they would tell you, okay, what combos do you want to use, and you would have to try and figure them out. And if you put different attacks together, because you could chain them together, like, it would unlock even bigger arts and do even more powerful attacks. And Like, it was really cool at the time to see how that worked and to figure out, okay, you know, left down is, you know, the somersault kick. So if I already have left down and this attack has, you know, left down right, now you put left down right, now it's combining the two into an even more powerful attack. Because you have both combos. And like the story wise, like I could I believe they made a second game originally, but it was so different from the first, everyone hated it. Like, it made no sense. And it was like, this isn't even the same game, even though it has the same title.
I've seen.
But like, go back to the original game and, you know, build a sequel based off that. Like, okay, the other one wasn't canon. They do it all the time now. Where they like, just ignore that, we didn't do it. But like, the basis of the game was, the world is covered in this mist that turns... There's creatures that bond with you. They were called Seru, S-E-R-U. That they would give you super strength, the ability to fly, you know, help you do normal tasks. They were symbiotic with you. And one day the mist showed up. And when the mist showed up, it started turning everyone with them on into monsters. And the Seru by themselves would just turn into their own monsters.
Cool.
And like try and kill everyone else. So everyone had to either abandon the Seru or turn into a monster. You know, you start off in your town. Your town is built into the seaside, and it has like windmills to blow the mist away. So you're in the town, they can use them. And your father's a hunter. He goes out, he gets hurt, he comes back, and then these monsters attack your town, bust the wall, and you know the mist comes in, and there's this funny tree in the middle of your town called a Genesis tree that a special Seru called a raw Seru comes out of that isn't affected by the mist, and you can use it to revive the tree, and the tree actually pushes the mist away for a long area. So your town is safe once you do it, and now you're traveling the world looking for all the trees. You find allies who get their own raw Seru. You know, you find out where the mist came from, you defeat them, and at the end, like, your raw Seru leave or die. I couldn't remember which one. This was a while back. And like, okay, you know, the world is at peace now. But they give you the foreshadowing something else is about to happen, and then, like I said, like, I tried playing the second game, and it was like, this isn't even the same game.
Yeah.
But like, if you ever like, I mean, there's emulators all over the place now. Like, you can even get them on your phones. Like, if you ever try it out, like, it's an interesting game and story, and it's like, I think that's what I get more attached to with games is the stories and the characters, and then they leave it open and it just ends. It's like, why didn't you continue it? Why didn't you finish it? Oh no, we're done.
Yeah, as far as sequels not being the same, you played Dead Space like I did, and
Yeah.
I was fine with the way the story went, but a lot of people disliked the sequels for that. They said it was too much action and not enough horror. Yeah. And I could see that, but I mean, I was fine with it. I mean, to me, that's the evolution of the character, too. He's been fighting those enemies for how long? You know, he's been
fighting these alien monsters for that whole time of the first game. He learned how to fight them. He learned to no longer be scared of them. It's not going to be a horror fest for him in the next game fighting them again. He's like, oh, this shit again. Let's go. Like, I agree with you on that. Like, that's evolution of the game. But there's a difference in, like, okay, it's no longer horror, it's more action-based, where, I mean, I'm trying to think of another game. I was thinking of it earlier, and then I forgot it, that, like, it real bad did that, too. Like, where it's like, these aren't even the same game, and you're calling them the same. This is the sequel. Oh, I loved it on the GameCube. It was called Tales of Symphonia. Like, I really love that game, and then, like, you go through the story, you get through it, and then when you go to the second game, it's not even the same combat style. totally different way they built it, the way the ability. It's like, no, don't call this, Tales of Symphonia 2. Call this Tales of whatever. Like, there's a lot of Tales games out there that some of them are similar, some of them aren't. But you can't have a direct sequel and then it's not even near the same game.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny and Destiny 2. They changed where our guns go. They changed, how we can do our loadouts. But the combat is about the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Another game series, or not necessarily another game series, but Dead Space, to talk some more about that. Like, they left that on such a cliffhanger. And I could understand it's been too many years, how many people that, played Dead Space 3 actually are still playing games even, or, would buy a sequel if they made one. So many people gave up on that series. Because, like I said, the change from horror to more action stuff. So
yeah.
I would like to see that one rebooted. And when I say rebooted, I mean like God of War was. Right? It keeps some of the spirit of the original games. It keeps, the combat and the feel of the world and the lore of the world and everything somewhat intact. But it evolves it, Graphically, it evolves it. It goes back to its horror roots. Maybe you follow a completely different character. Because, for instance, in Dead Space 2, there was a DLC, I think it was called Severed. And you followed a completely different character. I'm trying to remember the name of the guy. I'm not going to be able to remember that guy's name. But it was a completely different character. You weren't Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fine playing as that character. Like, the game still felt like Dead Space. He had similar weapons and abilities and stuff. So I don't think it has to be Isaac. It could be somebody completely different. It could be in a different timeline or a different time. Or just if you're rebooting, you could ignore what happened in the other 3 games and just completely reboot.
Yeah.
Maybe you have some Easter eggs about that, the past games, and that's it.
When you bring up that, have you seen the 2 movies they made?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think they tied well enough into the story and the feeling of Dead Space to explain it for people who didn't play the games?
I don't know if I would say you could just watch the movies and then you'd be okay playing a sequel. I don't think that would be enough. I mean, they filled in blank spots in between the games, but they wouldn't be enough for somebody to just play those and be like, oh, okay, I understand what's going on, now I'm ready for a sequel.
Right.
Because where they left off in the last one, I mean, they had some really horrible creatures were attacking Earth. They were there,
Yeah. They made it all the way back to Earth.
Yeah, I don't think we'd be able to pull that off, going a sequel from there. But like I said, I think a reboot would work beautifully with that series. And I think you could gauge the interest of people, see if the market is there for it, by re-releasing the original ones remastered.
Yeah.
Just take the trilogy and remaster it for the next gen and just release it. And if people buy it, enough people buy it, you say, okay, well, this many people bought it. This is around how many people we can guarantee will probably buy the reboot. And then add on top of that some more people maybe that, okay, they're not going to play the remaster, but if you reboot it and it's popular, maybe they will, maybe they'll get that.
Yeah. The followers will always pick up a game of the others just because, oh, this game's badass.
Yeah. So I think there's a market for it, for sure.
I think that's one thing, like with the gaming companies, that they need to figure out how to gauge better. Because there's some games that, like, we all know, you bring back this game, you're gonna have people buying it, instantly. But yet they never do, because, well, no one's gonna rebuy this game. We're not gonna remake it. Yeah. And it's like, you just missed out.
Yeah.
Like, you picked the wrong game to pass on. Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of how our joke goes, like, we should work for Bungie.
Yeah.
Make them billions.
Red Faction is one on my list. You guys said
I played one Red Faction game.
Okay,
and I
which
played
one?
it with my brother.
Do you remember the name of it?
I want to say it was just Red Faction.
Was it open world? Were you on Mars?
I want to say we were on Mars.
Yeah, that's the first one, isn't it?
There were a couple of them on Mars, weren't there? What system were you on?
PS2, maybe?
Okay,
maybe
that's not the
an
one
Xbox?
not the one I'm thinking of, I don't think then. I think the one I'm thinking of was on PS3. What did you play out of the series, Monkey? You sound like you're over there saying you played some of them.
Wasn't it like Gorilla or something like that?
Was it Gorilla Game? Oh, Red Faction Gorilla? Okay.
Yeah.
I think
and then
that
I
was...
played the first one too. That was on
Okay.
360.
Yeah, Gorilla was the one on Mars that was open world, right? With and then Armageddon was the one that followed it.
Ah, yes, there we go. Yeah, that's what it was.
Armageddon's the one you played, or Armageddon? Or are you just saying, yeah, that's the one that followed it?
Yeah, that's the one that followed it, because I remember I played both of them, and I really liked them. The destruction in it was so much fun.
That's what I really thought was really cool, the destruction. Did they have that in the one you played, Guts, where the environment, the buildings, I mean, you know, Battlefield, whatever Battlefield game that was that made such a big deal out of their destructible environments, when I saw that, I'm thinking to myself, well, that's been around for a while, like in Red Faction, that was huge, and it was really neat.
You see, yeah, the Red Faction I played was actually released back in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a lot older than the ones that y'all are talking about. And it was on the PS2.
Yeah, the game series went
like, I just
back a
googled
ways.
it. That was the one that I played with my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't quite as evolved as the ones, like I hear y'all talking about it. It's like, when the fuck did they do that?
Uh-huh.
And, like, that's why I looked it up, and it's like, oh, I played the ancient version.
It was a pretty interesting world, though. And, all the destruction and the technology that was in the game and the lore, I think it would make for an interesting series to bring back.
Oh, I would agree. Like,
they would
what I play, like, it would be cool to see it again.
Yeah. And with that, because it's so old, I think they would have to go with a reboot, not a sequel. Anything that hasn't been played, I want to say in like 10 years or so, has got to get rebooted. I don't think you can do a sequel.
Because people need that original story.
Yeah, you've got so many of the younger gamers that they have no idea what that franchise even is. You know, they're not going to pick it up.
I wouldn't mind seeing like new technology to destroy the buildings and stuff. Cause all you got was what, C4 and then a hammer.
Pretty much everything in the game, you could stand there with a hammer and beat the crap out of the buildings, and they would eventually come crashing down. So I mean, any ability you had could destroy them. It just some were better at it than others. Monkey, you got another game you want to talk about, or?
Oh yeah. Fuck. My brain's not working.
It's okay. Want me to come back to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've lost.
Let's see, what else did I have? Panzer Dragoon. Did you guys play that at all? It was a Sega
It
Saturn.
sounds so familiar, but I don't remember it.
It was, so I might be misspeaking here, and if I am wrong, maybe somebody will cook me in the comments. I think it was spoken in Japanese and it had subtitles. I know that. Like they didn't talk English, and the rough story of it is you were like this farmer or whatever, and then there was this creature, like they had these little creatures that would walk around that kind of like was their version of cows or something, I guess, but yours had wings, right? And it didn't look like a cow though. It looked like almost like a two-legged, like a Tyrannosaurus Rex kind of looking thing, right? but it was small, right? And this one had wings, and every time one was born with wings, the local, like the wise men would always say, "Oh, you have to put that one down. You have to kill it. We're not, you know, if any of them are born with wings, you have to destroy them." Well, this one you didn't want to destroy it. You kept it off to the side, and you started raising it on your own. And then this evil came across the land, and you decided to ride this thing like as a dragon or whatever, and you because you discovered it could shoot fire or whatever out of its mouth. Not fire, but like it had different types of attacks it could shoot out of its mouth, all right? And you went and fought the evil that was coming across the land with your dragon, and you rode this thing, and it was kind of like on the rails kind of shooter, you know what I mean, where you're on it and you're looking forward and you don't necessarily have control of where you're going. Like, you could slow yourself down, you could speed yourself up, you can go left or right and pick and up and down and stuff, but you couldn't like stop. It wasn't open world, it was linear, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how, with that one I haven't really given a whole lot of thought as to how I would want them to evolve it. And I would probably want to see a reboot because that's so old. But I think that can make for an interesting, an interesting revival. That's a pretty neat world.
Ride a dragon, and you got my attention. So
yeah, it's a pretty neat world, and the lore that exists in the world, and like you just said, riding a dragon. You know what I mean?
Sold.
Pretty cool one. And then Max Payne. Did you guys, either one of you play Max Payne 1, 2, or 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Max Payne.
Which one? Just one? Guts?
I believe I played 1 and 2. I don't think I ever got to play 3.
Okay. What about you, Monkey?
Yeah, I played it.
You played part 3?
Yeah.
1 and 2 as well, or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was on PS2 when I played it.
Yeah. That I think I would want to see a sequel, not a reboot to that. I think that's still new enough, but the problem with that is money. From way I've heard, Rockstar did not make their money back or as much money as they wanted to on the Max Payne game.
Even with selling it for movie rights, they didn't make enough money.
I don't know about the movie right thing. I have no idea. I just think the game, for what they put into it and how much money they spent marketing it and everything, did not make enough money. I mean, I played... I was going to platinum the game, but it was pretty freaking hard to do on the higher difficulties. The single player could be kind of annoying to try to do with the higher difficulties, so I never platinumed it. But part of the reason with that is I had my own clan on there. That was the game I made my first clan on. And the online was so much fun. The online multiplayer was great.
Isn't that what you turned into your oh, what is it? Didn't you turn that into a yeah, that.
Yeah, the clan was actually able to be carried over to Grand Theft Auto 5 from Max Payne, and I did that. And then, the clan didn't end up like lasting more than a few years, but it was cool while it lasted, and the game itself was lots of fun. You could, the slow motion bullet time that you had in the single player.
Yeah.
You could have that in online too, with different builds. You could do, you had bullet time and other different things that you were able to do in online, which was really fun. When you would defeat someone or kill someone in online, you could then pick their pockets for different stuff, and people could booby trap their bodies too. So when you pick their pockets, you would get killed. You'd blow up and die. There was another one where another ability, instead of like doing the bullet time, where you could, for a few seconds, you know how in a game your teammates' name tags will be white or blue, and that's an ally, and the enemies will have like red name tags, right? You could change your name tag for like 20 or 30 seconds, so that to the other team, to the enemy team, you would look like you were an ally on their team. so you could stealthily like run right up to somebody and punch them and kill them, or like start shooting at somebody and they would have like, wait, what? Why is what? And then before they know it, they're dead. You know what I mean? It is pretty cool. I used to love that ability. Well, I've kind of exhausted my list of games that I could talk about for the most part.
What was that racing game I thought of? My brain's not working.
The racing game you thought of? Was it Midnight Club?
No.
To give you a little bit more time, Beyond the Beyond. Again, it was a PlayStation game. It was an RPG, turn-based. But this thing had, like, it gave you no big hint on where you were going. You just had to figure, like, I don't know how to explain it, but you just had to, like, fucking figure it out. And, like, when I was younger, like, it drove me nuts, because I would always get to the same part. You're a kid, you know, you're a swordsman, you're learning it, you're trying to become one of the best, and you end up adventuring with another group. You end up with these really powerful characters. At one point, you get cursed, and you have to figure out how to lift the curse, and they don't fucking tell you how.
That's cool.
And you just stroll around for, like, endless hours just trying to randomly figure it out. And I know I did it. I just can't offhand think about how you lifted it. But, like, most of the time, like, once you got the curse lifted, like, your characters got so much stronger. It was like, now it's time to have some fun. And, I mean, you're talking, like, old school PlayStation graphics where they had their cutout characters and they had limited movesets, but they didn't actually walk around.
Yeah.
If you can understand what I'm saying. And, like, I would love to see that one first get remastered and then continued. Because, like, I like puzzle games. And, like, to me, a lot of the puzzle games today are so simple. Or, you know, like, me and you in Destiny, like, you know, when we first started playing Destiny together and we, like, me, you, and Butters, like, going through things right off the bat, like, with Butters around. Let's look up a guide and let's just do this, because it's like, no, I want to figure out the puzzles. And eventually it was like, well, let Guts have a little time, and if he can't get it, then we'll do it.
Yeah.
And now you got into the point, you're like that now, where it's like, you know, I want to figure this shit out. I want to have that fun. And it's like, you know, how many times do we tell other people in the game, read the actual quest? It tells you where to go next. It tells you what to do next. You know, you follow the steps, you're going to figure it out. Okay, yeah, now you have to figure out the shoot puzzle for, you know, Xenophage. But how many times in games have you seen that exact type of puzzle? Where you shoot one thing and everything in line with it changes. I mean, another old set of games I'd love to see come back were Lufia. And Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals, which was actually a prequel. You know, they were, again, RPG games where you went around, real good stories. Like, the stories were so great back then. And, like, I would love to see them being back, but, like, that exact same thing. You hit one in the line and everything changed. And, like, Beyond the Beyond's puzzles were just like, we don't give a shit if you've seen this or not before, good luck.
Yeah, there
I
is
would
a
love
little
to see
too
that type
much
of
hand-holding in games anymore, isn't there?
No,
I think so. You know, I understand the companies, oh, well, we have to make it where everyone's going to enjoy this. We have to make it where everyone can figure out the puzzle. No, you don't.
I mean, there are still
You know-
games, though, where... Go ahead, Monkey, and then I'll say what I was going to say.
Oh.
I thought you were about to say
Oh,
something. Go ahead.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. I think there are still games where it's very, very hard, or some games that have very, very hard difficulty. Maybe not where puzzles are concerned, but... Oh, you know, if you like puzzle games, The Witness, have you ever tried that?
Haven't even heard of it.
It was a free PS Plus game, so I don't know, 6 months to a year ago, something like that. But, that's nothing but puzzles. You're on this island, and it's just puzzle after puzzle after puzzle. There are environmental puzzles and things. It's like all different kinds. Maybe I'll play that or make a video of it or something for you one time so you can see what it's like. It's an indie game, so I don't think it costs that much, even if you have to pay for it. It's probably $5-10.
But you see, like, going with that, like you said, though, like how they have to make it available for everyone to get through it easy. Like, when we were kids, dude, and I know you're a little bit older than me, so you probably remember it even better than me. But if you didn't figure it out, you could always go find the guide later. You know, that's how the games work. Here's the game, here's the puzzle, good fucking luck. If you can't do it, we'll put out our official strategy guide and you can pay to figure it out. Or pay to be told. You know, with Google and everything else today, there's guides up for shit in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
After a quest comes out. They don't have to make it so easy that, well, here's the solution, go get your gun. Here's your solution, go do this. You know, they can make it hard and challenging where people are going to be like, dear God, what the fuck? Without, oh, that's too hard for everyone. We can't do this. I'm like, no, make it work for it.
Now, are you mainly talking about the exotics on Destiny?
Not even just Destiny. Like, there's a lot of games where these comments can come into play. Like, the exotics quest, yes. Like, yes, they're a good example of where there's no challenge left versus, you know, you have to beat this on this extra hard mode. But, I mean, there's so many places where they could upgrade things like that, that it's like, no, we have to make it easy for everyone to do. Destiny just seems to be like the common point because, like, that's the most hours involved game we play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it's like, oh yeah, they got to be talking about that. But like the old games, like there was no, here's the puzzle, figure it out. Good luck. You don't do it, get a guide.
But you're talking
like,
about
they can't do that.
You're talking about single player games though when you say that, right?
To an extent, yes, but even at the same time, there were, you know, there are multiplayer games that even working together to solve a puzzle, you know. Again, like the most common one we play is Destiny, but even Warframe has elements of that.
Yeah.
Where you have to figure it out. And, you know, they just make it so easy to figure them out, where these old games didn't have that. It was figure it out.
Right, I get your point. I think there's probably two reasons why they do that. One would be because, like you said, it's an online game, multiplayer game. The you know, you're gonna have little Johnny over there complaining why he doesn't have a gun that, you know, Bobby has. You know what I mean? And I can't get it. It's too hard, whatever. And yeah, I know what you're saying. There's guides online, and they could look them up, but they don't necessarily want to design a game where, in order to do something, you have to go outside of the game in order to be able to complete said quest. When we're talking specifically about Destiny exotic quests, I know they were traditionally harder in D1 to come by, to get and stuff. Like, not all of them. I mean, some of them, it's always been where, though, this exotic just drops randomly in the world, or this one comes from a raid, or this one is a quest from bounties that you can get and stuff. I kind of like the way it is right now, what they've gone to, where, okay, this one comes from the season pass, this one, like, let's say the sidearm, where we had to go to, like, the PvP map and scan all the robots and stuff, and they just gave it to us. And then you have other ones like Xenophage or Divinity, and, you know, that are harder quests and things like that. So you've got a breadth of different ones that some of them are easier to get, some of them are harder to get, you know, some of them are a little more coveted. I like that, personally. Like, that way, everybody can get some exotics, but like listen to the people we talk to sometimes. Oh man, you don't have this? You don't have that? Why don't you have this or that or the other? You know what I mean? Like
It's hard.
we play so much and so much of the hardcore stuff that we tend to feel like everything is so easy to get. But for a lot of people, I don't think that's the case. You know, I think we're more top 10% or something where we can sometimes think that, you know, oh, everybody must have this. This must be common. But it's not. Monkey, how many exotics do you have in Destiny 2? Do you know? I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to rattle off. What's that?
Yeah.
Well, no, actually I have 3. I can get the Xenophage, I just need Forsaken.
You need
Forsaken? Because I did the puzzle and... Yeah, I did the puzzle and everything.
You mean Shadowkeep?
Yeah, Shadowkeep, my bad.
Yeah, that.
Okay.
But, like, and I understand what you're saying, and I understand the new mindset, but, like, honestly speaking, from when we were kids, right? How many of those games did so successfully well, and they didn't spoon-feed everyone?
Yeah.
That, you know, it's the new mindset if they have to do that, or they're going to lose the players. If they have to work for it really hard, you know, they're going to get mad and not play. Versus when we were kids, it was, we didn't give a shit. We would spend 15 hours figuring out this fucking puzzle, or we'd finally give up and quit playing the game.
Yeah. I hear you.
And like, and that's why, like, they can bring back older games where that was the case without having to, you know, they're new games and ruin them because people don't like it. You know, you bring back an old game that was loved, the people who loved it are going to play it and not be like, man, why the fuck did I ever play this game? It was so hard. It's, no, I love this shit. Like, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to play it, I'm going to love it. It's like, you give me 1 second, like, I can nerd out real quick. I actually have a book.
On what?
Like a movie book or a movie case that's just full of PlayStation games.
Oh.
Like, I don't know if you can hear it flipping.
Yeah, I can. Monkey, you sound like you got something on the tip of your tongue. What's up?
I figured out the name of the game I was going to talk about.
Which one?
Twisted Metal.
Oh.
Was Twisted Metal really a racing game or a survival game?
It was a racing game.
I would consider
I've never played that game correctly.
I would consider it a car combat game.
Yeah.
I would say. Like Demolition Derby deathmatch with cars.
Like, I never knew, like, there was an actual race element where, like, you actually were trying to get to the end. Like, we just ran around until we were all dead. Then again, I was a middle schooler, so, you know, we never played games right back then.
Yeah. Well, this might end up being one of the shorter podcasts because we're kind of running out of things.
Without multiple people, there weren't a whole lot of...
Two of our hosts couldn't make it tonight, apparently, and, yeah.
But, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a reboot of, Twisted Metal. What I liked about it is fighting.
Flipping through it.
Monkey, I would play a reboot of Twisted Metal. I just don't know. I don't have any ideas off the top of my head what they could do to make it better, other than just like graphical upgrades, new mechanics, new characters for some of the vehicles. You know, like they had Sweet Tooth, and I can't think of Sweet Tooth is probably the most popular common one that everybody remembers. I can't think of any of the other ones. Darkseid maybe was one of them, I think.
Yeah, Darkseid was pretty cool. He had the semi truck and stuff.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind new vehicles. Make the maps like a little bigger and like add new weapons and stuff.
I got your
I got a game for you, Infamous.
What?
Did you ever play Parasite Eve?
Oh
No.
God.
You sounds like the both of you have, though, so go ahead and have a conversation about that. Nerd out.
It was in the wake of like the original Resident Evils that it came out, and like it had a real cool premise to it where there was a parasite that was causing, like, it would manipulate different people differently, but it would cause the mitochondria in your cells. You know, the mitochondria are your powerhouse of your cells. They produce the energy you need. That they would start doing incredible shit, like creating electrical current versus just the power your cells needed, shit like that. And you were one who it was activating abilities in you, and you had to go after Eve, was her name, and oh man, she was just all fucked up. Like, she could melt people using their mitochondria against them.
That game was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a good game too. But I know they made 2, but like I would love to see them be able to bring that back. Like, it was a Resident Evil style combat plus superpowers. You know, you had a healing ability and you could use healing, you know, as long as you had the energy to use them. I want to say she was able to finally shoot lightning and shit.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm going to step away for a quick moment.
Alright.
I made it through the last podcast like 3 hours without a bathroom break. But I've got to go this time. So if you guys want to keep talking about that one or a different one real quick that I don't have much to contribute to, go for it. I'll be back in a flash.
I wouldn't mind if they brought that back. That'd be pretty cool. I haven't played the game in so long though, so I forgot what it.
Like I said, I just pulled out my book with all my PlayStation games in it. Ever play Saga Frontier?
Oh yeah. I haven't played
that one. That one was interesting considering it had, what, 12 main characters that had their own main story built into one game?
Yeah. It was a fun game. My dad used to play it. He actually got me into it.
Which character did you play?
I can't remember the characters on the top of my head.
Yeah. The only one I remember was the robot T-260.
Okay.
Because like that was my favorite character.
Have you ever played the game Dark Side?
It sounds familiar. I just couldn't tell you unless you explain it.
You're in the mafia, and these people kill you, but there's a demon that is like inside you, I guess. I don't know how to describe it, but you have these creatures that if you stand in like a dark area, you can have these creatures come out of your back and stuff, and you're like this demon that can like steal people's hearts and stuff.
Yeah.
And you have a little companion that's a little goblin, or like a little mimic, or not mimic, a little demon.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty good story. It's actually supposed to be was a movie, but they stopped making that game. But it was pretty fun. Like, it was gory as hell, though.
No, I don't remember that one.
Check it out. Like, it's not really a fighting game. It's more of you play as the bad guy, but you're also a good guy somehow.
Chaotic good.
Yeah.
I mean, I can get down with that. Like, I'm good with the chaotic good. You're kind of evil, but you're not really evil.
Yeah, because, like, I think you're trying to get rid of the demon, but the demon won't let you die. So, like, if you die, he tells you you can't die, and he brings you back to life.
Oh wow.
What game are you guys talking about?
Dark side?
Darksiders or?
No, it's
No,
called
just Dark Side.
Oh, okay. Because my kid played Darksiders, I think.
Darksiders is when you play as the Four Horsemen, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I've played it. But while you were gone, I had brought up well, you were there for Parasite Eve. I brought up a game called Saga Frontier.
Mm-hmm.
That one, you know, again, back in the day, I played a lot of RPG
Mm-hmm.
because you know the stories.
Yeah.
And it was called Saga Frontier. That game was crazy for one reason. It had like 12 main characters that had their own story built into one game.
That's cool.
And you could, you know, you would load your character. Okay, I'm gonna pick the robot T260. I go through his whole story. You interact with some of the other characters. Some of the other characters become your enemies and stuff. And then you pick another character, and it's a totally different story. But yet, they all end up interacting again.
Yeah.
And you know, there's 12 different people to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have to play the game 12 times in order to see all the stories.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my
know,
bad.
some-
Okay, it's called the Dark Side. Sorry.
The Dark Side.
Anyways, go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt.
That's
Oh, you're
cool.
good.
But like, I mean, like games like that, I would love to see make a comeback. You know, I do understand the shift. Almost every game is more and more becoming more of the MMOs.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't happen to know what it means, massive multiplayer onlines.
For as
Where
much...
you pick one character and you go through it and you just keep evolving as the story evolves. World of Warcraft, Destiny, you know, those are two of the big ones right off the bat.
For as much
I
of
like
it...
the games to where...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I like the games where you can make up your own story with the character. There's a game
Choose
like
your own
that.
path.
Yeah. That's pretty much what Fable was, so I mean...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Crap, what was I gonna say? I don't know what I was gonna say, but I did have another thought. One of the things I liked about the Infamous series is that you're not playing Batman or Superman or Spider-Man, an already established hero with already established powers and villains. You were playing a superhero game, and you didn't know who the heck this guy was and what his abilities were and what the enemies were going to be, and it was all, you were finding it all out as you played. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was exciting. I don't know what the heck I was going to say before. What were we saying before that? What were we talking about? Yeah.
The multi-characters in
Oh,
one game that you play
so-
versus you just have one character that you play all the time.
So you talk about RPGs and MMOs and this and that,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand that's a thing, but for as much of a gamer as I am, over the years, how many, oh God, hundreds of games I played, I never really think of games in that sense. This is an RPG, this is an MMO, this is a FPS. I just think of it as this is such and such a game and I like it, and so even if you ask me to tell you what a game is that I've played, is it an FPS, is it an MMO, is it this, is it that, I might be hard pressed to actually tell you what it is, because I just don't tend to think of games that way.
Also, with today, the lines are so blurred.
Yeah.
You don't fucking know exactly what it is anymore because, case in point, Destiny is a FPS, you know, role-playing MMO, RP MMO, because you're playing your Guardian, you're a first-person shooter, you know, it's a massive multiplayer online, like, they fall under so many titles now the idea that this game is just an FPS is almost dead. Almost every game now is a combo of certain elements. I mean, even Call of Duties are moving away from just first-person shooters.
Yeah.
That, you know, like when we were kids, it was a lot easier. You knew what the game was because it was probably in the title somewhere, or, you know, explained on the back.
Yeah.
Where now is, you know, you go reading a thing now, it's like description of this game, and it has 50 letters telling you what it is. But, I mean, that's just evolution of games. You add in more and more aspects. Like, I don't see a game surviving without having blurred lines between genres.
Yeah, nobody wants to play a game that's just one thing anymore. They want to get so many different things out of their game.
Yep.
Back to Dead Space a little bit.
Okay.
Even if Dead Space didn't come back as a series, even if we didn't get a reboot or a sequel, I would love to see some of the elements I was talking about, like the immersiveness of the game, come into another series like Destiny. Get rid of my super bar on the screen, get rid of my health bar, get rid of everything, put it on the character, put the ammo counter on the gun itself. Like, immerse me more in the world. You know? When I pick up a piece of lore or a scannable in-game, just play an audio file for me or a video file. You know, give me the option to click out of it if I'm not interested or something, but just play it. So that, you know, I feel more immersed in the game. Don't make me have to, like, go to a separate menu to read the grimoire. At least the grimoire is in the game now, as opposed to what it was in the past. But still, is room for improvement, like I'm suggesting.
Agreed.
Yeah, I watched how they made that game. It was actually pretty cool. For all
Dead
the characters.
Space or Destiny?
Dead Space. Like, they said it was pretty hard to make some of the creatures on there and stuff. It's funny because they said they were going to make it even more gory, but weren't allowed to.
Yeah.
That game
I mean, it was pretty gory already. And don't get me wrong, I liked it.
Oh yeah, it was a really good game. Probably the only scary game I'd play, because I would not play, what was it called?
You wouldn't play what?
Silent Hill?
No, oh, I love Silent. That's another game. Silent Hill. I would love to see a remake or a reboot of Silent Hill.
Wasn't that what, that, what do you call it that we got a couple years back? The demo? Wasn't that supposed to be like for a new Silent Hill game that never ended up getting made?
Yeah, I didn't really like the way they did that.
Okay.
Because it doesn't go with the story that, when they made it, you just wander through halls or like downstairs and scary stuff happens. Regular Silent Hill is that you lost your daughter and you're trying to look for her and you're going through pretty much hell just to look for her. And you gotta go through a lot of scary stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how scary it was. No, but I'd like to see a better version, or at least a reboot, of probably the first Silent Hill game that they made.
Not The Room.
Yeah, the Room was... I was like, that's not Silent Hill.
So I'm trying to think of the other horror games that were out there.
What's that game where you're carrying around a camera and you're walking through like a Saint Asylum or whatever?
Oh, I thought you were going to talk
don't
about
know.
Dead Rising, where the guy with the cameras going through the mall. The guy, the reporter or whatever.
Oh my god, I love Dead Rising.
Yeah, it was a good game, but
You know, I never
there's-
played Dead Rising.
I mean, if you played Dead Island, or if you played Left 4 Dead, or if you played, you know, Dying Light, all of these games are kind of similar.
I think the
Zombie,
reason,
yeah.
like, I didn't try Dead Rising is, like, you mentioned Dead Island,
Mm-hmm.
and that was out when, like, I was working at the prison,
Mm-hmm.
and me and my buddies who, like, shared a dorm room all pitched in to buy it because, like, we were looking, like, we all love the zombie genres and stuff, and we were looking for something to play because, like, I mean, limited space, limited outlets. You can't really have, like, 4 TVs.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, okay, so let's find something we can all play together.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, we pitched in and we bought a copy of Dead Island because we were reading, and it's like, you know, 1 to 4 players, this and that, da 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 da. We loaded it up, and we were trying to play, like, multiplayer all together, and that's when we find out the multiplayer was only online only.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't say 1 to 4 multiplayer online own, like, you know what I mean?
That's how everything is now. You've got to have, like, there's no more couch
Yeah.
co-op. Couch co-op is pretty much gone.
Yes.
It's a way of the reason I think that they want that to be gone is because they sell more consoles and more copies of the game if they require everyone to have, you know, to play online, and you've got to be playing with somebody else that's also online with their own console with their own copy of the game. That's the main motivating factor, I think, for why that's the case.
I understand that, but at the same time, like, there's times, like, you know, a family with 4 or 5 kids doesn't always have the ability to buy 5 PlayStation 5s with
Oh, for sure.
5 copies of Destiny 3 with 5 more, like, okay, it's about enough I had to buy 4 controllers for them to all play at the same time. That's $200 more bucks. Now I have to buy 5 PlayStations? Not to mention my fucking own, like,
Yeah.
you know, like, there's games, like, I'm fucking around with it right now, like Minecraft. You can load in split screen still.
Mm-hmm.
It's still online, yeah, it's more fun to go online and bring in your friends and shit, but hell, set 2 kids down and let them play.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can still make them have to have PS Plus because they can't access their games unless they have a hard copy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier to just buy a digital version,
It's
but
money though, like everything else, man. It just
but
everything's driven
at
by
least
money.
put it on the damn box that it is online multiplayer only.
Yeah.
Not
Well, that's-
1 to 4 player multiplayer thinking we're gonna split screen 4 ways and have a good ass time and realize we just wasted $60.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. I was just stating the fact that seems like that's gone the way of
Yeah.
the dodo. Like everything anymore is
The
online.
split screen co-op is pretty much dead.
Yeah,
It's just about.
yeah.
Yeah, and that
What's
really
up,
upsets
Crimson?
me.
What's up?
Nice to see you made it.
Yeah, I got caught doing a pit of heresy with someone who just picked up gaming.
Uh-oh.
And,
What's her name?
Connie. It
There you
was
go.
a headache. It was a headache to say the least. But she made it through it.
Cool. We were honestly, we didn't know anybody else was gonna make it. We were about to wrap up pretty soon here because we've kind of exhausted what we could talk about with the lists we had. If you want to go ahead and go over your list, and then once we get through that, we'll wrap it up. Go ahead, because we've talked to pretty much about you know, great lengths about all of our choices that we had, all our lists.
We're getting off topic now.
Yeah.
I don't know what games were talked about, but at the top of my list is Area 51. It's a really old first-person shooter, sort of in the sci-fi genre.
I remember it.
And as corny as it is, I think it deserves a remaster because it did do a lot of cool stuff, dual wielding, gave you alien powers like halfway through the game and shit like that. It'd just be pretty dope.
So
And I think it also comes with a co-op mode where you can split screen and play through the campaign together, which would be great.
So you want a remaster, not a reboot or a sequel? You want a remaster?
I want a remake.
Okay.
A complete remake.
Yeah, it's like a reboot. Gotcha.
Yeah, for most of these games. Black, Kill Switch, Burnout, Revenge, Devil May Cry 3. I would like a sequel for Infamous. On the list, there's I put Infamous Cole's Legacy would probably be a title for it or something, but I'm sure Infamous already covered Infamous, so.
Yeah, I mean I could quickly go over my my idea for it, and you could give me your thoughts on. I don't know if I ever told you this one before. I thought, you know, okay, they ended Infamous 2 where Cole they made it the what's the word? They made it canon that Cole was dead because the majority of the player base apparently had played the good ending where Cole had died, right?
Right.
So they did that with that, and then I'm just going to go ahead and say, because it fits my narrative, that the majority of people played the evil ending of Infamous Second Son, right? And if that was the case, he was on his way to the prison to shake the hands of all the prisoners that were captured by the DUP, all the conduits, on the way out to absorb all their powers, right? Now, you have Cole or Delson go evil like that, and you have Cole miraculously has survived the events of Infamous 2, but has been in hiding because of the creation of the DUP and just, you know, biding his time and deciding whether or not he was ever going to come back out. And the fact that Delson is kind of on a rampage has caused Cole to decide, you know, okay, I've got to come out and I've got to put a stop to this guy. And if you really wanted to extend the game's life further, you know how you've always had to go through like a good karma playthrough and evil karma playthrough?
Yeah.
With my thoughts, you could get 4 total playthroughs on this game because you could make it to where you can play as Cole evil or good, or you could play as Delson evil or good. So you get to play the game as either character and then as either karma. So you've got 4 playthroughs. And you could have it obviously in a new location, new powers, you know, and it's all, but the main story, maybe this would be the way they make you play through it on your initial playthrough, like I said, is where Cole comes out of hiding to put a stop to Delson.
I was going to go the different route with the good ending. Have Cole actually, at the ending of Infamous 2, when he's on the boat, he gets struck by the lightning. The lightning would recharge his body and heal him, but leave him in a coma. And by the time the ending events of Infamous Second Son happens, Cole awakens, and this is where we agree, where Delson would be evil and like try to take over the world, and Cole will fight him.
Poor Delson.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to what my idea is. The little, the little details are, I'm completely open to, you know, changing any details there, but that's pretty much where
I could talk Infamous all day.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
We need
where
to
I'm
pitch them an idea.
What?
We need to pitch the company this idea.
I mean, I really feel like I was even saying this earlier before you joined the podcast, Crimson. That there's people that have played the new one, and there's people that have played the old one, and then there's people that have played both. So you'll have a wide variety of people that might be interested in playing this and doing this, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Would you say you could play it 4 different ways, you know, and you're going to have all these, imagine how many different powers you could have with Delson, and I'm sure you could introduce some more with Cole because, you know, he had to use that machine to get powers in the past from I can't think of their names, from Infamous 2.
The 2 Quo?
Yeah, Quo and who?
Nyx,
thank you. I couldn't think of her name. But you could probably write some narrative in there that, oh, when the whole thing happened, he also got the ability to take powers, but you would have to make it a little different than what Delson does. Delson just makes contact with somebody. Maybe you would have to make it to where he could only hold on to one power at a time, Did you ever see the show Heroes back in the day?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, you remember how Peter Petrelli at first he could basically have all these different powers. He could just keep acquiring them. I imagine Delson is that. But then you remember how at one point he got hurt or his father took his powers or something, and then after that he could only hold on to like one at a time, right? So you make Cole like that. Okay, he can have all these different powers, but he can only hold one at a time. Or maybe he could hold 2 or 3, you know?
Give it that him charging the FRI at the end of the game sort of disabled his molecules and allows him to absorb the powers and keep you around him.
There you
rather
go.
than actually physically going into contact with them. You know, Cole would just arrive, look at him, observe him, be like, you have this gene, I take your power.
Yeah.
All powerful Cole. And he would switch between them 1 for 1, just like you said, just to make them, you know, balanced and not overpowered.
Yeah, I wouldn't want them to be carbon copies of each other, but there's a lot you could do, I think. I really feel like... I mean, now they're doing Ghost of Tsushima, the studio, and that game is getting a lot of praise. So we're probably not going to get another Infamous for years, if ever. But if they ever decided to go back, I feel like that's a good path, and I feel like even if they took a different... They could take any character in this world, any conduit, and make an interesting story and, you know, give that person interesting powers, and it would be a fun game to play.
Right, absolutely right.
Like I was saying, one of my other games I brought up was Dead Space, the series of Dead Space. I don't know if you played that before.
All of them.
Okay. So, did you ever play, Dead Space 2 had like a little DLC, I think it was called Severed, and you played it as another guy? It wasn't, Isaac?
With like stupid difficulty on it, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just as enjoyable and fun as even though you weren't Isaac, right?
Yeah, of course.
So that's my point, is you could even bring back a different, you know, okay, we're going to tell another story in this universe with a completely different character, you know, and it would be fun. It would, you know, you don't have to.
The chick from the movie.
Chick from what?
Yeah, the movies.
The movie.
The first movie.
Yeah, it was the animated one.
Didn't she die at the end of it?
Nope.
Maybe I'm not
She's
remembering.
still there.
I want to say she's in the second one, or they mention her in the second one, that she was alive.
I don't recall. It's been a long time. But, you know, you get the point.
I get the point. I'm gonna continue going through this list so you guys can call it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got Brothers in Arms, Earned in Blood next. Thing that deserves a complete reboot from the ground up. The X-Files for this set for PlayStation 1. The Army Men series, specifically Land, Sea, and Air, and Sarge's Heroes. I think Army 2 deserves a remake. A complete remake from the ground up, Max Payne 1 and 2.
Well, I'm going to have to stop you there before you go any further. We got to discuss that. So you want just 1 and 2, you want to ignore the existence of 3, and am I understanding that correctly? First of all?
No, I think 3 is recent enough that it doesn't need a remaster just yet.
So what do you want to change about 2? I mean 1 and 2.
1 and 2, I honestly just want an updated graphical system. I think the story is fine. I think probably a little bit of rework on the voice acting, and you got another like pretty good spot-on game.
So you want a remaster, not a reboot or anything like that of those? The 1 and 2. Okay.
Like, if I wanted to go for a Max Payne 4, it'd be kind of difficult after the ending of Max Payne 3 to see him continue on. Dude's pretty old at that point.
Yeah.
So I think bringing back the first 2 games might, you know, bring something up, or even doing a prequel maybe, because you're already a detective or whatever at the start of the first game. You know, it'd be nice just to see something more come out of the series. Yeah, I feel like it was short-lived.
Yeah.
Golden Sun, I would love to see on the PS5.
I brought that one up, but I didn't remember when we were doing it. Those were cool games.
Yeah, Golden Sun's fucking amazing. I would love for them to sort of do what they did with Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, upgrade it.
Yeah, it was great. The narrative's great. The combat system was amazing. I probably wouldn't change anything about that. Golden Sun. I don't, there's not much to say about Golden Sun. It's amazing, and if you haven't played it, you should go play it. The Thing.
Oh God.
Thing's a great
Didn't-
game.
Didn't play it.
I thought that was. I mean, I know the movie, The Thing. I don't know the game, The Thing.
There's a game, The Thing.
Are they
It's
related?
based off of the John Carpenter's version of The Thing, and the game takes place literally right after the movie.
No
So at
kid.
the end of the movie, they send in a rescue team, and then they got to go through the destroyed facility, and it's overrun by the alien creature, and you got to fight your way and kill everything there. And
Wow.
it's a pretty.
How did I
pretty
not
good
know
game.
this exists?
It's a pretty good game. Go on YouTube, watch it. It's pretty good.
If you watch the movie, remember the dog that got loose?
Yeah.
They should make another one of that, of the Thing, but have that dog like spreading the I forgot what they call it.
The virus.
Yeah, the virus.
The alien. Isn't it basically the alien?
Yeah, it's the alien. It's a parasite.
There's a dog that gets loose at the end of the movie, and they just leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good follow-up to the movie. I would definitely go ahead and give it a watch or a play.
I'm gonna have to check that one out.
It's pretty.
I never
tough
knew it
game.
was a game.
What
It's old, so don't mind the graphics. I think it was PlayStation 2.
Oh,
No, I don't judge an old game by modern graphics. I don't understand the people who do that.
It's really good. it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
No, the voice acting is but I think you'll like the narrative that goes along with it. It's sort of the lore that you don't figure out there in the movie that the game kind of reveals. Especially the way it ends, but I won't spoil that for anybody. There's another game I've played pretty much half my life called Extermination. If you haven't heard of that, you're basically a soldier. You go to a military or scientific black site. An experiment went wrong because they were experimenting with an alien meteorite thing, and you fight through the facility for your life. It's a really good game. It has really good mechanics. The narrative is kind of weak, but if you like gameplay, it's the type of game for you. And I would love to see a remaster for that because the creatures are absolutely horrendous. And I like that gory stuff. I don't know why.
Good say. There's nothing wrong.
And I put, it'd be nice to have one decent Superman game in our generation.
Denied.
It's never gonna happen. I don't believe it is.
I mean, we all know that's the truth of it.
It'd be nice. I mean, they could.
I mean, I agree. It would be nice, but we all know it ain't gonna happen. Too many people arguing which version of it, of Superman, to even use.
Use all of them.
I
That's what I would do.
prefer, like, that's one of the reasons I like the Infamous games, is because it's a superhero that, or supervillain, but I prefer the superhero route, that you don't even know the story, the backstory, the enemies, the world. It's all being fleshed out before you. I don't like playing established, like Superman, Spider-Man, Batman. That's just my personal flavor.
The mega game where they rewrite them again. At this point,
Yeah.
why not? What's next? Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. I'd love to see a remaster for that. Left 4 Dead. I'd love to see a remaster for that. The PlayStation 1 Spider-Man games. It'd be nice to see those with the upgraded graphics of today. Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee because I like Godzilla.
I saw that on your list. Godzilla Destroy All Monsters. Like, is that one game? Because I played Or no, I'm thinking of War of the Monsters. Has anybody played that?
Was that
yeah.
back? What system was that one on?
That was on PlayStation
PlayStation
2. It was a fighting game, but you played as different monsters and aliens and robots that the government had built to fight the monsters, and it was like a kaiju kind of game, but it was a fighting game.
It was fun.
It was
You can
pretty
download
freaking
it
cool.
on the PS4.
See, now that y'all brought that one up, does anyone remember the Nintendo Godzilla game?
Oh god, yes. Actually,
Yes, I do remember it. I don't remember the name. God, man, I can't remember the name.
I can't remember its exact name either, but now that y'all brought them, like, that was good for its time. Like, I would love to see them upgrade that one.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great. I need to research the name of that so it doesn't drive me insane the rest of the night. But I'll continue with this list because it's almost over.
Alright.
I'd like to see a sort of GTA graphic style version of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb, back from the original Xbox days.
Uh-huh.
Celebrity Deathmatch.
oh my god.
Oh no.
I love that game.
No.
I've always played Carrot Top for
What the fuck? Of all the characters.
fucking Carrot Top.
I mean, if you got your ass kicked by Carrot Top, like,
Carrot Top
That's
wasn't
even-
bad, though.
Yeah, he was fun. It's pretty good. What else did they have? They had Brother Grimm, Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer was a funny one.
There was a Jerry Springer game?
No, Jerry
It's
Springer.
Celebrity
was
Deathmatch.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed part of the conversation because somebody walked into my room and I'm like, I'm live on the internet. And they had to have a short conversation with me regardless because nothing can ever wait. But, yeah.
That's
So,
family, bro. It happens.
right? Everything's got to be, like, everything's emergency. Go ahead. Celebrity Deathmatch. Was that? No, that was a
gonna
game
say
too? I
Jet
saw
Set
the
Radio.
show. I saw the show.
Yeah,
I
it was a
never
game.
Oh, no
yeah, they
kidding.
put a game out.
Nice.
That's
I was gonna say Jet Set Radio, but Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is coming out pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a sequel, basically, or... Yeah, a sequel to Jet Set Radio, another one anyway. So, it's kind of off the list, it's already happening. Enter the Matrix. Pretty decent game. Manhunt: The Reckoning.
Did
That'd
you
be
ever
great.
play them? No, I think it was a sequel to Into the Matrix, the Path of Neo.
I did play the Path of Neo.
Pretty
It was
cool,
trash.
right? You didn't like it at all?
Damn.
I didn't.
I
See, I never played
barely,
any of the Matrix games.
I barely remember the narrative. I just remember playing both of them. I remember being disappointed, but still, like, I loved the Matrix movies so much to get my hands on anything extra. Like, you know, I have the box set. I have very few movies that I actually
Yeah.
own the disc to.
1,
And I
2,
have
3,
and the Animatrix. Yeah, that's what it is. It's the box set with all that right in front of me here. Let's just get a whole brand new. Just forget about Into the Matrix. Let's just get can we get give us a whole new Matrix game? You know, aren't they? They're coming out with a sequel, right? The fourth one.
Yes, they are.
So that'd be perfect time. Come on, let's get a game to go along with it, man. You know.
They probably will, and it'll probably be shitty, but
Yeah,
it's nice. It's a nice thought.
every single licensed game that's licensed after a movie or something's gotta suck for some reason, right? It seems like it's
The
like
old
a curse.
RoboCop game was fun.
Was like a side scroller. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Way back then.
Super Nintendo. There was even one where you ran around fighting Terminators as RoboCop.
I have a vague memory of something like that.
I don't. That sounds awesome. You gotta send me a screenshot of that or something. What else did I add? I added Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. That'd be pretty nice. Midnight Club.
If they could redo those, that would be a cool game series to bring back.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about them.
It's Midnight Club, Shadow the Hedgehog, Spy Hunter, and one that would definitely have to be a passion project that everyone wants remade is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh God. Disney would have their hands in it now. You gotta be careful. Emperor Mickey might fuck that up.
Emperor Mickey better not fuck it up. But let me not talk bad about Disney before we all end up somewhere.
I mean, the only ones more dangerous to talk about is the Clintons.
Oh gosh.
That's my list.
Let me throw out my list since you weren't here for it. I only had like 7 games, and see if you want to respond to any of them. We already talked about Infamous. I think we talked about Dead Space a little bit since you got back, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we went over Max Payne a little bit. So the other ones were Red Faction. Do you remember that game series at all?
Oh yes, that needs all the remake.
Mm-hmm.
Guerrilla Warfare wasn't bad, Red Faction, but
that's the big one that I really got into, the open world one with all the destructiveness and all that, environmental destruction. That was where I really caught on to the series.
that came from the first game. You had a rocket launcher that allowed you to shoot through walls, or C4 that let you go through everything.
See, I only played the original game back in 2001.
And it was a pretty decent game.
Yeah.
I only
Red
played
Faction.
I only played Gorilla and Armageddon, the one after it, so I'm not familiar with the other ones, the older ones.
I haven't played Armageddon. You gotta tell me how that is at some point.
It was way more linear than Gorilla. Gorilla was more open world, and the destructiveness was on level with, if not even better, in that one versus Gorilla. But the story and the fact that it was more linear, just, I don't know, there was something about it, it wasn't as good. It was still cool, it definitely wasn't as popular, it didn't do as well for them, from what I understand. I don't really have much to say about it other than that. It's just like, I think there's room for more stories in that universe to be told, you know?
Definitely. I have a lot to say about like the games that probably would be mentioned, but you guys have already been talking for like 2 hours and 10 minutes, so...
Well, I only have 2 more games. If you wanna say something about them, you can. If not, we can wrap it up. Portal and Panzer Dragoon. If you have anything to say about either
Portal
one.
needs a remake. You want it like completely redone, like?
I mean, they could do
they
could do a sequel. I mean, that's not the type of game where there's a whole lot of story to it as to where you needed to play the sequels to understand it. I mean, the previous ones to understand it. So you could just totally come out with a sequel, and then the people that enjoyed the old ones would be able to just pick it up and enjoy it, and people that had never played it could also, you know, just start playing this one and get something out of it, you know? I
always felt like Portal was one of those games where, like, it's good where it's at, and if it goes any further, somebody's gonna mess it up.
Yeah.
In other words, you don't want to see a sequel to it? You feel like they would ruin it if they made a sequel?
Probably. Like you said, it's not a ton of narrative, but I feel like the way people are now, they add like this long-ass single-player campaign to it where you have 4 billion cutscenes and barely any gameplay. Just so they could explain the Portal mythos and why the game is happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough when you really like a franchise, and you're worried if they bring it back, they're gonna mess it up. People didn't want them to make another Last of Us, and I'm glad they did. But there's a lot of people that aren't glad they did.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, like Joe Thomas. Yeah. What about Panzer Dragoon? Did you play that at all? Are you familiar with that series at all?
I've never played Panzer Dragoon. I've seen gameplay of it.
Okay.
I've heard of it. I would love for another game to come out just so I have like the ability to play it. But other than that, I don't know much about the game for me to
judge it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if no one else has anything they want to bring up, or any other games they want to comment on, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Everybody can plug their socials if they want to, and we'll say goodbye until next week.
Alright.
Alrighty. Everybody,
Crimson, yeah,
you
go
can find
ahead.
me on Crimson_Borders on Twitch. You can find me at Dodetsuk, that's DODETSUK, on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, IG, Facebook, all that good stuff.
Okay.
God6690. I'm pretty much just on PlayStation. I say this every week, but like I only got into this because I play so much with Infamous, and he was like, "I have to do it," and it was like, "Sure, I'm in." So if I ever develop any of these things that these other guys have, I'll let y'all know.
Monkey, do you have anything you want to plug as far as social media?
You can find me on PlayStation, BadMonkey420766. You can follow me on Instagram. It's Cargill Jordan. I do art, tattoos and stuff. So if you want to add me on there, you
Oh
can.
my.
That's cool, I didn't know that. And you know me, Infamous177 Gaming on YouTube and everywhere else, TikTok and Twitter, or not Twitter, Twitch.
Facebook.
TikTok.
No Facebook, I don't like Facebook. Alright everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next week. I'll let you know what the episode is going to be when you tune in next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Have a good night, everybody.
Night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.